Hello everyone and welcome to the snake side breakdown for the Tampa Bay Open for the 2025 season, about to kick off. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this. Be sure to watch the other videos for the middle and Dorito side breakdown as well, so that way you can get the whole picture. So let's look at this, this snake side. So first things first that you're gonna notice, let me click into this so that way I can move around in here. I don't need to be drawing. So this off the break shooting through here is pretty much going to be useless. I don't think that it's, unless someone's floating here. That is one thing. I think there might be some people floating. Because of this shot coming through here, you have a great shot to shoot into the snake gap to be able to possibly eliminate that player trying to dive in. If you were going out to the snake side, so going into this God bunker, this shot from the tower is gonna drop in about here, but I think if you get low enough, you'll be fine. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think you're gonna be able to get in okay, but just know that that shot does have a possibility of coming in, and then you can see also right through here, they're also able to shoot into this gap, but they'd have to be super quick to catch you on that one. So I don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue. I feel like people getting into this God bunker is gonna be pretty simple, but something you're gonna notice right away is right here, you really can't see anything. So this is not a spot to get into that if someone's in the snake, to stop them. When we get into, or if you watch the middle video, you'll see that. I'll go over some of the stuff that's gonna stop you on the snake side as well, but you can see basically that there's nothing here that you can really do. They can crawl all the way down, you'd have no clue. So this is gonna be a spot that you would get to either hold them from getting into the snake, so you have this whole gap here, and also this whole gap. And I feel like you might be able to, if you are shooting from here, bounce it off here into this player. It's a possibility. I don't know if it's 100% gonna work. The other one that I was thinking, if I can go the correct way, come on, there we go, is this. This might be a bounce that you'd wanna try. From the other Aztec, off this one, into the back center. It might work. I'm not 100% on it. It's something that you would want to maybe try, but I'm not going to guarantee it. This is always first impressions, right? So please hang in there with me on that. So this whole middle structure, you got to be careful of. This is all, if I can stay right here, you can see here, there's a lot of bunkers that can shoot into this gap. So if you don't have a presence in the snake yet, make sure that you're checking off these guys as well. If it seems too easy, there might be a reason why, because they're trying to bait you. Now, if you are going back and going into this little Dorito, let's say instead of going into the snake off the break, you wanted to do something different, you can see that there's a couple bunkers that can shoot into here. So the tower and the home can both shoot into this gap here. Now you might be able to use this as a way to go into the snake. I don't know if they're gonna be able to drop it over the top. I think it's gonna be dropping low enough, but it could be something that maybe you kind of trick them up here to get them to shoot high and then take the inside route and go low and use this little cake to block you out. It's a possibility, but I wouldn't go here to help your snake player unless they're not in the snake. If they're not in the snake, then you can kind of wrap and shoot into here, but it'd probably be better for you to stay in this God bunker if no one is super wide. The only other option would be, let's say that you have someone in the snake and you come up to this little brick. So this little brick, you can see that there are shots into the tower, who is going to be an issue. We'll get to that in a minute. Into the home and a little bit into that God bunker. And then of course you can shoot into the middle. And if you take the inside, you have that same shot. They probably have a bounce off this into you, like that tower, and this can might have a bounce off there into you. So you got to be careful of that. But if you're playing this outside, you're pretty safe unless they come all the way to the 50 snake and wrap. I mean, you can stay low. The God might be able to skim it over the top, but if you stay low, you can put pressure on these guys here, which is gonna help your snake player. So with the snake, too high, let me go down, press the wrong button. So this snake one you can see is pretty useless. You can shoot into the 50 Dorito, but it's not really anything that's like, okay, this is fantastic. I would say you want to try to avoid this snake one, because once they get to this wedge, they do have a tiny gap, but they can still shoot through here. Now the field might be a little bit different. You always want to walk the field, make sure that you are trying to see what are changes So maybe that gap isn't there at the event, but I feel like this gap you can shoot through and stop them in the snake 1, but you'd have to get there before they get to the snake. So that's something. Because I really feel like you just want to avoid the snake 1 and just go right into the snake 2. Because you can see here, 1, I think you can probably bounce it off this can into that wedge. And then you can start putting pressure on these guys. These guys are going to be your issue. The main 2 that are your issue is this tower and this wedge. You can see the gap that they have through here. So if anything, you might want to have someone in this tower to make sure that they don't get past the snake 2, if they are in the snake. Because there really aren't any other bunkers on the field that have a good view and vision of what's happening in the snake. Even someone in the snake isn't going to be able to see that because they have a bunch of stuff in front of them. Same thing goes with this wedge. You can shoot into this gap. And then also, possibly, if they're trying to stay real low, you might even be able to go from the can or the tower, bounce it off here into there, just to kind of put pressure on them, make it really difficult. But just know that if you drop the lane, it's not a whole lot for them to dive out, go into this little W, and then now they're safe. Now, if you're in the can or this wedge, that's going to be a lot more difficult for them to be able to do that. But if my snake players watching this, or anyone else, you really should watch all of them. Just know that your big threat is going to be this tower and this wedge. If those guys aren't shooting at you, if you come here, you do have some good shots wrapping. So if I were to kind of wrap, I can stay low and shoot right into, well, it would help if I had the drawing one, right into that guy. And then also drop some shots into the back center. But this isn't something that you really want to depend on, because it's kind of a blind shot. It's not 100%, but it could be helpful to help get your snake player across and get them further up the field, so that way you can get up into the 50 brick. So let's say though that you're the snake player going in, and I'll get down a little bit so it's a little bit more like you're playing snake. If you back up, you can see you have that shot into the wedge and this wedge. Now you got to be careful, because if there's someone in this wedge and they're waiting for you, they're going to have a good shot. They're standing up, they're going to be able to sit there and post on you. But you can maybe even back up a little bit, shoot this pin, and it'll probably bounce into him. So just as a heads up, you have to be careful of the tower, the Aztec, and this can. So it's not like a guarantee you get to sit there for a long time. But just know that you got to be sneaky getting up here, crawl up nice and tight, don't bump the bunker, and then come up and be able to shoot at this center player. Now, the issue is that if I saw a player go through my gap, if I was in this tower, I'm going to want to get into the middle. I'm going to want to get into here or into here. So you need to make sure that you have your head on a swivel. Now, let's say that you are going to this brick. Let's go on the wrap first. So this brick has a lot of great shots. You can see here, into that Dorito, into this Dorito, into both of those, into the can, whoa, that was a crazy line, and then into that God bunker. So if you have someone going down the snake and you get to this spot, you can do a lot of work holding them from going wide on your player in the snake. Now let's say that you are the snake player, you're not a support for the snake, just know that if you come here, be careful on the cross shot for this Dorito to be able to shoot into you. But you could kind of come out and kind of play the whole bunker. It's going to be safer if you can come this way, just because there's not a whole lot that they can get wide on if you already have that dominance. If they try to dive out wide, for them to dive out this way or dive across to be able to catch you, it's going to be really difficult. So it's not going to be easy for them to do that. Now, if you are playing the front snake, let's say, or let's say that instead of going to the brick, you wanted to go forward, you really need to be careful of this wedge. There could be someone waiting in this wedge and just destroy you trying to come through. So they're close enough that you need to make sure that there's no one there. And then as you come up, you have to be careful. The Dorito could maybe drop it in. I'm not saying it's 100%. This Dorito has a good shot. And then the tower again, you can see here, would be able to drop through. So you need to make sure that you're playing tight, which, I mean, you should be doing anyway, but this snake can be super deadly if you are playing it tight. I mean, just the fact that you can get up here and then shoot into this 40 Dorito, the little brick, and then start wrapping from here and shoot even a whole bunch more people. If there's nobody in the middle, I mean, if you can just go all the way down to their snake 2, I mean, look at this. You have just backs and packs all day. So it's going to be super easy for you to be able to eliminate those players, but you need to have support behind you so that way they don't try to get wide. So if you have someone else in the snake with you, then they can come and bunker you, but it could be worth it because then you're able to catch a couple bodies and then trade with that snake player, and then someone else comes behind you. So that is the snake side. So tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure that you're watching the other videos as well. You have the Dorito side in the middle, and yeah, I'll see you guys in Tampa. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. And as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.